Welcome back to the Front Page Saturday Town Hall Edition, where we are taking on all of the issues stemming from COVID-19. It is every Saturday, 8 to 10, the fastest 2 hours of my life. And I want to thank our sponsors, Council President Emeritus Herb Wesson, the City of Los Angeles, Community Build, and, of course, the Independent Professionals Association at indiework.org. I want to thank Guy Black and Roland Bynum. Guy Black is up next. He's got the Battle Royale and lots of great music for you. Joining us now, the council member from the 10th District. Of course, he was the council president from 2011 through 2019, the first African-American to be in that position. Councilman Herb Wesson, good morning.
Good morning to you, Dominique. Thank you for these weekly town halls. Good morning to the Front Page family. And I just quickly want to thank all of your unbelievable guests today, Mr. Dingle and Craig with the LA Brewing Company, and, J.C. Watts. I was one of the folk that had an opportunity to sit with him as they were dreaming up the creation of the Black News Channel, and have had an opportunity to be on it several times. Phil Strong, and what can we say about our Congresswoman Karen Bass, who is like the godmother of, these virtual town hall meetings. Nobody does it better. Proud to hear from Kareem Webb, and it's just an honor to be on here again today with you.
Well, we appreciate you helping us make this happen. And honestly, it is sort of encouraging just to see the incredible talent that we have in terms of lawmakers and also entrepreneurs here in the Southern California area. Wow.
It's impressive. We should be proud. Yes, this is not the happy joy moment, but I think everybody is stepping up to the plate, making their recommendations and suggestions, working together to try to turn, this thing around. I think it was Mr. Dingo that kind of referenced a Chinese proverb about whenever there's chaos, there's opportunity. I do believe in that. I always have. And it's important that we as a people search for those opportunities, because that will help us, get out of this situation.
Speaking of the incredible talent in the entrepreneurial space that we have here, bringing in another guest, he's the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of Seritage Growth Properties. It's a New York-based real estate investment trust, but he's also worked with Magic Johnson to launch the Johnson Development Corporation, which, of course, is Magic's theaters and partnerships with Starbucks and such. Ken Lombard, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being with us.
No, thank you for inviting me, and hello to my friend, Councilman Wesson.
Well, Mr. Lombard, I mean, you may be one of the kings of business reinvention. You're always doing huge projects, but you never stay in, you never stop moving. What advice would you give to the entrepreneur in general and the Black entrepreneur in particular about how to address this moment of crisis?
Well, I think the critical thing, first and foremost, is to acknowledge that every business and every business's needs are, while they're different, there's one consistent first step that each business and business person has to take, and that's to make sure that as we get on the other side of this and businesses start opening up, that they have done and taken the steps to keep their employees safe, and to create the right type of safe environment, including distancing, including all the types of things that, there's a lot of guidance out there, whether it's even how you're going to treat your guests coming in if you have meetings in your offices, if you're restaurants, how you're going to go about your business from a spacing, distancing perspective in terms of your tables, how your waiting staff is going to conduct themselves. There's just a number of different things, but you have to be focused on keeping everyone safe, including your employees and your customers. that environment is going to help to attract people, because frankly, when people come up and if they don't feel safe, then they're going to turn around and go somewhere else.
Right. Councilmember Wesson, we heard Congresswoman Bass talking about the struggle to get another stimulus bill or help bill out of Congress. What's what's your role in getting those federal resources to bear here in Southern California?
Well, first let me say hey to my dear friend Ken Lombard, who's always been on the cutting edge. Somebody that we've, that kind of broke through, brokering big deals in our community. So he's a person that we look up to, a person that's knowledgeable. And one of the things that I like most about him is that he's very operative and knows how to get things done. We have a lot of people that can talk that talk, but not a lot of people that are operative and that actually can make things happen. I'm proud to call him a friend and proud to know him. Where it relates to what we can do to help with the stimulus package, I believe that there are going to be, several stimulus packages. And one of the things that I would suggest to my colleagues on the Los Angeles City Council is that we pass some kind of official resolution supporting what Congresswoman Bass and Waters and those folk are doing with the federal government. Congresswoman Waters chairs one of the most influential committees in this country, which makes it one of the most powerful committees in the world. I think it's important to her to know that her cities have her back, and any kind of chatter that we can make happen where it relates to passing these things on. See, we really need the federal government to, I have no problems with a lot of the things that they're talking about. But what they never talk about really is bailing out the people, putting the people first, doing things that directly have a positive effect on the people. So anything that helps our small businesses, anything that helps our nonprofits, our nonprofit network in this region, that's the lifeline for low-wage workers, black people, people of color, Latinos. What can we do to give local governments the resources they need so that they can hire people at a livable wage with health insurance, put them to work, make sure they get a paycheck every couple of weeks so they can help jumpstart the economy. Let us stop going from the top down and look at least a portion of this money coming from the bottom up.
Well said. Let's go to Kim calling us from right around the corner, Inglewood. Good morning, Kim. Kim, are you there? Okay, I guess Kim is not with us anymore. Let's go to Merrill calling us from Pensacola, Florida. Good morning.
Whoa.
It's a good morning. How are you?
Good. Go ahead, please.
I think that you have a great platform and you're helping people to understand more about how to pivot in the PPP program. Now, I'm in Pensacola, but I also have a home in the L.A. area. I'm in transportation. I license truckers and brokers to get into business. I primarily deal with minorities, try to help them.
Okay, I need the short version, Merrill, if you would.
Okay. The short version is this. I would like to be able to be a part of the situation here in California to try to help minorities get into business. I like to help them to understand how to get set up. Many do not know how to get set up in business. They don't have CPAs. They don't know how to get the TPPs. I'd like to be able to help to shorten that process, to make it easier for them.
Great. Okay. All right. Appreciate that. I mean, I know that there's many people that could probably use your help as a volunteer, including the Vermont Slauson Economic Development Corporation. Ken Lombard, any advice for Merrill who wants to help people get their business pieces together?
Look, I think it's an appropriate question as I was listening to the councilman speak, and there's going to be a lot of programs that take place. I think it's going to be, we got to try to figure out a way where the access is going to be provided, and a lot of that is going to take, some outreach on behalf of those that are attempting to administer these programs. So whether it's Vermont Slauson, I know Joe Roseanne and his group are trying to do everything that they can to help. As we look at and take some learnings from the first round of stimulus, the key is that a lot that were had the biggest needs weren't the ones that were able to access it. So my hope is that a lot of the community programs that are available, I know the councilman will do everything he can to try to provide equal access for members of the minority community. But that, to me, is going to be critical if we're going to be able to figure this out.
Let's go to Vicki from Los Angeles. Good morning, Vicki.
Hi, how you doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
Calling to find out, will there still be the business for black business all? And what I mean by that, due to this COVID-19, they're not going down, or are they going out?
Well, it's a good question. Will black businesses be able to survive the pandemic? Derek Dingle at the beginning of the show said 45% of African American and Latinx businesses anticipate going out of business in the next 6 months. Council member Herb Wesson and, of course, Ken Lombard. What do you say about that?
Well, first, let me let you know that I'm having some minor technical difficulties here, so I'm not hearing everything. But I think it's critical for us to just kind of make it easy for people to access information, because what they need is help being guided through the maze. And so that's something that we'll be working with Mr. Harris-Doss and Mr. Price and I to come up with a way where individuals can call, find out what's available, and we can kind of navigate them through the process. But when I, listen to the program today, one of the recurring themes is the lack of capital, the lack of resources, yes. The challenges in dealing with the larger banks. So I just want to give a plug at this point in time for the creation of a public bank, maybe created by government, but not run by government, but one whose mission statement would be geared towards the people within that region. It would not be a bank that is, looking to just make financial profits. It would be the kind of bank that would invest in entrepreneurs, young and old, from our community, and a bank that would be inclined to help fund the development of affordable housing and things of this nature. It was referenced earlier that it's hard to expand and grow your business when you're using your own money. So you have to be able to connect with individuals that will, believe in your plans and your ideas, where you can access capital. So just from today's conversation alone, that seems to be the biggest problem or biggest hurdle.
Yeah, a public option for a bank seems like a great idea. Ken Lombard, were you going to jump in right there?
Yeah, I was. To the question of what's going to happen to our existing black businesses, unfortunately, I think there are going to be a number of casualties, businesses that were kind of going month to month and living based on the revenue profit they could generate. That's going to be a tough situation to come back from. What's going to be key if they are going to have an opportunity to be successful and make it through this is that we really have a very focused effort on supporting our businesses. And, whether it's the restaurants or service-oriented businesses, now more than ever, it is going to be important that as potential customers, we are able to make those decisions on who we're going to support and have it. And look, we're expecting quality. We're not going to just support people that aren't going to provide us with the level of service and quality and experience that we deserve. But in the same breath, we should give them a shot. That's the only way that we're going to get through this and have, the ones that can survive, they'll need that support to be able to get through it.
Yeah, recycling black dollars. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, and to the councilman's suggestion, I think that's been a great idea for a long time, and the councilman has done a great job of trying to plug it. Right now, time's not our friend, and if we're going to do something, there are some of these solutions that are going to come in that will be clearly things that can help in the now term, and others that will take a little bit of time to get going. That's one that I think will take some time, but it's worthwhile putting in the work and trying to figure out as we look down the road that this is an option, because businesses have always needed that. And I applaud the councilman for continuing to try to move that agenda forward.
Up against the clock here, but I wanted to ask you both, what would you leave us with as we talk about pivot and reinvent, how black businesses will move forward with this new normal post-pandemic? What would you leave us with this morning? I'm starting with you, Ken Lombard.
Look, the operative word I would use is the ability to pivot, and I think the ability to really look in the mirror and have some tough questions that you ask yourself from a business person perspective. Kind of check your ego at the door and try to make sure that you're doing the right types of things, both for your business, for your customers, and in particular for yourselves and your family. Because this is not about. This has been a struggle over the last 6 to 8 months, and will continue to be. You need to try to figure out the right steps and the viability of your business, so that you can make a decision. Okay, I'm going back at this. Absolutely,
Councilmember Wesson, your final thought here.
Well, given the focus of today's program, another thing that stuck out to me is, and it might have been you that started this, we disqualify ourselves without even applying for things. So that's defeating yourself before you even get in the game. So I think that we have always survived. We always will survive, so that we should not be afraid to swing, for the fences and to try to draw down resources that are available. I think that if there was ever a time for us as a people to be creative and learn how to use digital advertising and learn how to take advantage of what I think is going to be a slightly different world, it is important that we learn how to mastermind the internet and all of the tools that it provides. And another thing that was highlighted today that makes an awful lot of sense to me is not being afraid to partner with individuals that have different levels of resources and different levels of expertise. And that this could be a time, I think you did have one caller even call and talk about running 4 operations out of one shop. If there ever was a time to let your imagination fly, if there ever was a time to try new things and things that people have not done before, this is the time to do it.
Absolutely.
And through, digital platforms, I think we can play every bit as big as any other folk from any other part of the planet.
Absolutely. You have to leave it there. Councilmember Wesson and Ken Lombard, thank you so much. Family, thank you for joining us. Guy Black is next.